What is up, fans and first timers? Video Game Guru here, and today's topic is the hottest one of all in gaming, it seems, which is The Last of Us 2. At this point, what is there to say about The Last of Us 2 that hasn't been said already? Overall reviewers, the critics, give it a 10 out of 10, a masterpiece, a narrative magnum opus part 2, essentially, whereas the regular common folk, the YouTubers, the average every gamer, says it's pretty good or absolute and total dog shit, which is pretty large gaps in opinions between fantastic to middling to trash. So, with that being said, since I know that you're all clamoring for it, I figured I would go ahead and throw my 2 cents into this overwhelming pot of pointless opinions about a game that didn't even need to exist. With all that being said, let's get into it. The Last of Us 2. The follow-up to 2013's The Last of Us, following the story of Joel and Ellie as he, spoiler alert, I'm giving it now, this is your chance, okay, makes an attempt to bring this seemingly immune little girl, i.e. Ellie, the 14-year-old secondary protagonist of the first game, across the nation so that way he can bring her to the Fireflies so that way they can synthesize a vaccine from her brain, considering that's where the cordyceps infection attacks. Well, it doesn't go that way, makes a horrible decision, murders every single Firefly, scientist, and innocent bystander in the area, and then proceeds to carry on about life because he cannot stand the idea of losing another, albeit symbolically at this point, daughter. So, fast forward another 4 years to The Last of Us Part 2. Ellie is 18. Ellie is older. Joel has lived with the decisions of what he's had to do, and of course, hatred begets hatred, pain begets pain, and the cycle of revenge eventually brings a, once again, spoiler alert, the game has been out long enough, I'm giving you a chance now. Alright, here we go. Brings a golf club down on his skull, crushing it, and essentially setting in motion the major plot of this game, which is Ellie's revenge story, or Ellie's forgiveness story, or Ellie's revenge / forgiveness / educational, I don't know, the narrative is garbage. And quite frankly, beyond that, I don't really feel there's much to talk about past the narrative, which is what this is going to be about. Let's go ahead and give you what The Last of Us 2 pretty much is in a short review synopsis, real quick. Here we go. Did you play The Last of Us Remastered? It's more of that. Were you looking for things to be improved? Graphically? Yes. Fantastic. Loved it. It's beautiful. It is genuinely a visual treat. The gameplay, seriously, it's more of the same. If you were playing The Last of Us Remastered to get ready for this one so that way you could have one nice succinct story, you're playing the exact same game. You can go prone now. You can jump. So, I mean, that's cool. The kill animations are a lot more visceral. They, I wouldn't say went like Saw levels of torture / gore porn in this one, but they made sure that you understood that these people are in it when they're killing. There's no holds barred. They're doing what they're doing out of necessity, and nothing's gonna stop them. So I mean, that's all fine and dandy. But realistically, this game is just more of the same, with a narrative that is nowhere near as strong enough to carry the, some people say 25-hour experience, I say like 20 hours. You can burn through this. There's no need to get the collectibles. There's no need to scour every nook and cranny for ammo and resources. The game is forgiving enough. And with the fact that you get a, it's not really a spoiler, you get it immediately in the start, unbreakable knife that you can do infinite melee with, you can pretty much play this game like a melee third-person over-the-shoulder action-adventure game. There's not even a need to use your gun for anything aside from changing up the gameplay so that way it doesn't get so repetitive with the dodge, stab, dodge, stab, dodge, kill animation. There you go. So yeah, That's all of the minor improvements and changes. But doesn't have to talk your ear off with things that are middling, not that interesting, or a recap of the first. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video, and let's talk about this garbage-ass narrative. Alright, so this starts off, like I said, after Joel is murdered. It doesn't start off right there, but it's like 2 hours into the game. Boom, there you go. He's done so. And then you have Ellie, who is furious. Goes off with her new girlfriend, Dina. Alright, cool, awesome. And they are on a hunt for the Wolf Organization, or WLF organization, since the secondary protagonist, surprise, surprise, is the murderer of Joel, i.e. Abby. And as you kind of do this cat and mouse game of, will they kill everyone, won't they? You kind of know that no one's going to kill anyone of major importance, at least until the end, because of the fact that you have a whole game structured around playing as Ellie and Abby. So, Abby is, I guess, understandably vengeful. Seems a little ridiculous considering Joel saves her minutes before she murders him. But, I mean, it's a post-apocalyptic scenario, and every single message seems to be almost beaten to death at this point. Humans are worse than the monsters that we create, or the monsters that lie under our beds already. So, I mean, I get it. When Joel killed all those fireflies, ended up killing Abby's parents, makes absolute sense why she would want revenge. Makes absolute sense why Ellie would want to murder the person that took the father figure away from her. But with that, there's so much manipulation with making Ellie seem like the villain. Structuring her as this savage, one-track minded, I must kill you because you took something from me, even though that's the exact same thing that Abby was doing, which is in vengeance, I suppose. So it kind of justifies both of their stories, but makes them both look equally irredeemable. At least they're attempting to make Ellie look irredeemable, and it feels that way because you spent the whole game getting to know her subtle nuances, her ins and outs, what makes her tick. And there's those brief moments of levity throughout this story, but the majority of this is a dark trudge throughout, I guess, the depths of the human soul and depravity of the lengths they'll go to get their vengeance. Because every single time that Ellie ends up murdering one of Abby's close loved ones, you see her becoming slightly more unhinged, which is a really nice touch. And if they would have kind of delved into what murder and vengeance does on a person's psyche who's not really built for that, this would have been a much stronger narrative if they would have turned it into a deep character study in this type of world. But they didn't. They did things to make Ellie look bad and Abby look good. You get these sections that, of course, show the consequences of Abby's actions, which is everyone that she knows and loves dying around her at the hands of Ellie while you're in control of her. So it kind of makes it hard to really care, because it's like, well, I just want who I want to win. But it's a story that they have structured, and there is no freedom or wiggle room, so you are going to be shoehorned into the decision that they make for you. With that being said, you have other moments aside from Ellie's murder wantonly of Abby's people, like with the Ellie murder with the dogs, and her killing a pregnant woman, and there's just so much that doesn't make sense with the back and forth. I feel like they really should have structured this game around one particular story while maybe illuminating the other. I wouldn't have minded a game where I played exclusively as Abby, and then I got to hunt down Joel and Ellie, trying to figure out why exactly I wanted to do that, considering the first game was all about them and how they became closer and more compassionate towards one another. That would have been interesting to see why I have to have a turn based off of someone else's perspective. Or, like I said a moment ago, if it was purely from Ellie's point of view, showing how Joel's death destroyed her and how she intended to destroy another, but then how that's really just killing her on the inside more, and how she needs to learn to forgive in a world that seems absolutely hopeless and devoid of light. But we didn't get that. Instead, we get, like I said, A nonsensical game of cat and mouse with no real heart behind it, with a lot of emotional manipulation, with big moments like pregnant people being killed, dogs being murdered, favorite characters, and yes, I'll say beloved, because even though Joel was a flawed man, I'm pretty sure every single one of you people listening knows someone who's flawed that you still love. So like I said, a beloved character getting his brains bashed in with a 9-iron, like you're just pulling on my heartstrings. There's nothing that I can really relate to or resonate with this story. I mean, sure, some people get caught up in it in the moment that they see something sad and worthy of a couple of boo-hoos. Yeah, it's got them. They're gripped. They're in it. They are invested, and they want to see what the next tear-jerking or heart-wrenching moment is going to be, or what that awe-inspiring moment is going to be. But with this, I didn't feel any of that. Every death, every revelation, every finding out that, oh no, that's a major plot point, was more like a, okay, we're getting the wheels turning for what? What of substance is going to happen? What of value is going to happen? How is this story going to be enhanced? How is it going to build upon the first? Is it going to do any of that? And the answer is no. It kind of shits on the legacy of the first game. Because, seriously, that game did a really good job at subtlety. Just the small moments, like when Joel and Ellie ran into the two brothers who were more concerned about survival as opposed to being a child and a young man. Completely hardened, not playing with toys, throwing everything aside, couldn't even kick a ball in an underground safe house when him and Ellie were starting to remember that they were children. Just things like that, showing the weight of the world on their shoulders, on these individuals that you know nothing of, aside from the two that you're playing as, and really seeing how the ripple effects touch everyone differently. But in this, it's just, oh, why didn't they kill you? Says Dina to Ellie. They had the opportunity, they were right there. I don't understand why they didn't. And Ellie abruptly goes, it doesn't matter. They fucked up. It doesn't matter. Can we get some explanation? Can we try to get into the heads of these people that we're forced to play as, that we're forced to hunt down, that we're forced to interact with for the better part of a whole day in terms of the hours that it takes to play this game, 24, 25. Like, you have a decent amount of time to really just kind of dig into their minds with cutscenes even. Don't even make it gameplay. Make some compelling scripts that make me believe that the people in these dire straits are really there. Make me feel for them. Make my heart go out for them. But instead, you just give me garbage and ride on the coattails of what you previously made and expect everyone to fall in line and fall behind it. Ultimately, this game was unnecessary. It didn't need to happen. I didn't see any value in making The Last of Us 2. This feels like a $40 expansion that did not deserve a $60 treatment or that price point at all. I just don't see why it needed to happen. I don't see why it needed to exist, and I don't see why all these critics feel the need to lie. Because I'm gonna say it. Normally, I don't come right out and come at people's heads like this, but a 10 out of 10, a masterpiece, 5 stars, no, it's garbage, and the critics are liars. Sure, some people may love this game that much, but there is no way in hell that this had a resounding perfect across the board. There's too many idiosyncrasies and huge gaping plot holes. I don't feel like going into a deep analysis of this because I could be here all night with that. And I don't really want to bore you rambling on about something that I hate, because it was unenjoyable. It was an unenjoyable experience. Every moment playing this game was kinda like pulling a fingernail. So, with that being said, I'm just gonna let that hot take ride. I'm gonna let it simmer. I'm gonna let it stew. If you feel the need to play The Last of Us, go ahead. And then in the comments section below, tell me why I'm wrong, or tell me why I'm right. I'll listen to either one. If you played it already, feel free to go ahead and drop your opinions there. Was I too scathing? Was I right on the money? Somewhere in between. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think down below. Share it with your friends so the algorithm can go ahead and get me out there so you can see my videos a little bit sooner instead of having to dig so deep. All that being said, Video Game Guru signing off.